All right, so get this. Today we're going deep on Singapore.
The Lion City.
The Lion City. You want to know the culture, the attractions, what makes it tick?
We've got you covered.
We do. Our sources are pretty amazing for this one. We're talking futuristic garden city, one of only 3 surviving city-states in the whole world.
You won't believe this?
What?
Chewing gum is banned.
Yeah. No chewing gum. By the end of this, you'll be dropping some serious Singapore knowledge on your friends.
Impress them.
Right. Or maybe even get inspired to book a trip.
It's an incredible place. What I find fascinating is how Singapore blends the ultra-modern and the deeply historic.
Okay, yeah.
You'll see these gleaming skyscrapers practically next door to ancient temples
Oh, wow.
and colonial-era buildings.
So it's a real juxtaposition.
Exactly.
Okay, I gotta ask about this whole garden city thing.
Oh, yeah.
Singapore is definitely known for being green, but what does that actually look like? Like, is it like living in a giant park?
Well, not a giant park, but it is remarkably green. Singapore has really made this conscious effort to weave nature into the urban fabric.
I see.
So we're talking parks, nature reserves, even buildings draped in vertical gardens.
So they're really committed to that.
Oh, absolutely. And it's not just about the looks.
Okay.
All this greenery makes Singapore incredibly livable
Oh, I bet.
and sustainable.
Yeah.
And then there's the crown jewel of it all.
Let me guess. Gardens by the Bay.
Gardens by the Bay. You got it.
Ah, yes. Gardens by the Bay. I've seen pictures of those super trees. They look like something straight out of Avatar.
They really do.
What's the story there?
So these super trees are unreal. They're vertical gardens reaching up to 50 meters tall.
Wow.
And get this, at night they come alive with this mesmerizing light and sound show.
Oh, wait.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
so cool.
But the gardens are more than just those super trees.
Okay.
You also have the flower dome,
Okay.
which isn't just any greenhouse. It's the largest glass greenhouse in the world. It houses plants from all over, creating these unique, carefully controlled ecosystems.
So you're telling me I could be walking through this massive glass dome and suddenly I'm transported to like different corners of the world through the plants?
That's the idea.
That's amazing.
And then there's the cloud forest. It's this misty, magical space with its own indoor waterfall cascading down 35 meters.
Wait, hold on. An indoor waterfall?
What?
What?
It's like stepping into a different world.
Yeah, it's so wild.
Gardens by the Bay truly showcases Singapore's commitment to innovative and sustainable design.
It sounds incredibly futuristic, but also beautiful. But we can't forget about the human element, right?
Right.
Our sources mention this vibrant mix of cultures in Singapore.
Oh, absolutely.
How does that play out in everyday life?
Singapore's a true melting pot. You've got Chinese, Malay, Indian, and Eurasian communities all strong and vibrant.
Wow.
And this diversity is woven into every aspect of life.
Really?
Like food, festivals, architecture, language, you name it.
So you could be walking down one street and feel like you're in China, and then turn a corner and it's India.
Exactly. You can explore these distinct cultural enclaves,
Oh, cool.
like Chinatown,
Okay.
with its bustling markets.
Love it.
Little India, where the air is filled with the aroma of spices.
Oh, yeah?
And Kampong Glam, which is the historic Malay Arab quarter.
I'm already feeling overwhelmed by all the amazing things to see and do in Singapore.
I know, right?
Like, if someone only had a few days there, what are the absolute must-sees?
Okay, let's start with an icon.
Okay.
Marina Bay Sands.
Marina Bay Sands. Okay.
You know that striking hotel with the 3 towers connected by a ship-like structure?
Yeah.
It's not just a hotel, though.
What else is there?
It's a luxury shopping mall, a casino. They even have theaters.
Whoa.
It's like a whole world in itself.
And on top of all that, you have the famous infinity pool.
Oh, yeah.
Imagine swimming on the 57th floor with the whole city skyline stretching out in front of you.
The views are incredible.
I'd probably never leave.
And while you're in the area, you absolutely have to take a stroll along the Marina Bay Promenade.
Okay.
You get these incredible views of the skyline.
Ugh.
Plus, you're surrounded by these architectural gems like the Art Science Museum, which, by the way, looks like a giant lotus flower.
Oh, way.
And, of course, the iconic Merlion statue.
Right, the Merlion. Half lion, half fish.
Exactly.
What is the story behind that mythical creature?
Well, the Merlion symbolizes Singapore's history.
Oh, okay.
The lion head represents its original name, Singapura,
I see.
which means Lion City.
Ah.
And the fishtail is a nod to its origins as a humble fishing village.
Okay.
So it kind of represents the journey of Singapore from past to present.
I love how they capture that transformation in such a striking symbol.
It's pretty cool.
Speaking of transformations, I've heard about this entire island dedicated to entertainment.
Oh, yeah.
Theme parks, beaches, the whole 9 yards.
You're thinking of Sentosa Island.
Sentosa Island, okay.
It is a playground for all ages. You've got Universal Studios Singapore, the SEA Aquarium, which is one of the largest in the world,
Wow.
and of course beautiful beaches like Siloso Beach where you can just relax and soak up the sun.
So we've got iconic architecture, cultural enclaves, and entertainment island,
Yeah.
but no exploration of a place is complete without talking about the food.
You got that right.
And Singapore is known for its amazing culinary scene.
It's incredible.
So what can you tell us about that?
Well, Singapore's food scene is a reflection of its diverse cultural heritage. And the heart of it all lies in the hawker centers.
Hawker centers. I keep hearing about these, but what exactly are they? What makes them so special?
Imagine open-air food courts where you can find an incredible variety of local dishes,
Cool.
all at really affordable prices.
Okay.
They're incredibly popular with locals and tourists alike.
Okay.
It's where you'll get the most authentic flavors of Singapore.
So it's like a melting pot of cuisine, just like the country itself.
Precisely.
Love it.
You can try everything from Hainanese chicken rice, which is a national dish,
Okay.
to laksa, chili crab satay,
Oh, man.
all sorts of delicious noodles and stir fries.
And I hear you can even get Michelin star meals at some of these hawker centers.
That's right. Hawker Chan, a stall serving up Hainanese chicken rice, was actually awarded a Michelin star. It shows that incredible food can be found in the most unassuming places.
Yeah.
And that's what makes Singapore's hawker culture so unique.
Yeah.
It's a celebration of good food that's accessible to everyone.
Okay. My stomach is seriously rumbling now.
I know, right?
But before we get completely lost in all the culinary delights, let's talk about what it's actually like to live in Singapore.
Okay.
I know it has a reputation for being incredibly clean and orderly with
Huh?
some pretty strict laws. So what's the vibe?
Well, Singaporeans take a lot of pride in their city-state,
Okay.
and it shows. But people generally follow the rules, and there's a strong emphasis on community and shared values.
No.
You won't see any litter on the ground, and even jaywalking is frowned upon.
Wow.
And yes, it's true, chewing gum is actually banned.
Wait, really? Chewing gum is banned.
Why?
Why is that?
It might seem strange,
Yeah.
but it's all part of their commitment to maintaining a clean and pristine environment.
Okay, I guess that explains why the streets are so spotless. But beyond the cleanliness, what else sets Singapore apart in terms of daily life?
Well, for one, Singapore is incredibly diverse,
Yeah.
and not just culturally, but linguistically too.
Okay.
They have 4 official languages:
Wow. 4.
English, Mandarin, Malay, and Tamil.
That's impressive.
It really shows their commitment to inclusivity.
Yeah, it does.
And even though they do have strict laws, the atmosphere is still incredibly welcoming.
4 official languages. Wow. That highlights how Singapore blends so many different influences.
Yeah.
But it makes me wonder, with all this modernity and progress, how does Singapore hold on to its traditions?
It's a delicate balance, but they do it well.
Okay.
Think about it. You can find ancient temples tucked away among skyscrapers.
That's true.
Traditional festivals are celebrated with just as much enthusiasm as modern events. They respect their past while constantly looking towards the future.
That's something that really stands out to me.
Yeah.
That ability to embrace both tradition and innovation.
Right.
And it clearly works. Singapore attracts visitors from all over the world.
Exactly. People are drawn to its efficiency, its safety, the cleanliness we talked about, and of course the vibrant cultural scene. It's a truly global city.
Speaking of global, it's easy to forget that Singapore is one of only 3 surviving city-states in the world.
That's right.
It's crazy how this tiny nation has become such a powerhouse.
Right alongside Monaco and Vatican City. It's a real testament to their ingenuity.
For sure.
They've had to be incredibly resourceful and forward-thinking,
Yeah.
especially given their limited land and natural resources.
It makes you wonder, how do they manage it? We've talked about the gardens, the food, the cultural mix, but is there something deeper that drives the success?
There are a few key factors, I think. First, Singapore has a very pragmatic government that focuses on long-term planning.
Oh, interesting.
They invest heavily in education and infrastructure. And they're constantly adapting to stay ahead of the curve.
So it's not just luck, there's a real strategy behind their success.
Oh, absolutely. And then there's the Singaporean spirit itself.
Okay.
There's a strong work ethic, a sense of community, and a real belief and the importance of progress and innovation.
It sounds like this fascinating blend of cultural values and smart governance.
I think so.
Okay, before we move on, I need some more of those quirky Singapore facts.
Okay.
We've covered the chewing gum ban, the 4 official languages. What else can you surprise us with?
How about this? Did you know Singapore has the world's tallest indoor waterfall?
Wait, seriously, an indoor waterfall? Where would you even put something like that?
Believe it or not, it's in Jewel Changi Airport. It's this incredible complex that also houses a lush indoor forest.
At the airport?
Yeah. Imagine arriving at the airport and being greeted by a waterfall.
That's amazing. Talk about making an entrance.
Oh, right.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here. The futuristic gardens, the hawker centers, the Merlion, the chewing gum ban. What would you say is the absolute must-do for someone visiting Singapore?
I think the must-do is to simply embrace the diversity.
Oh, okay.
Don't just stick to the tourist attractions.
Right.
Venture out into the different neighborhoods, explore the local markets, try all the amazing food, and talk to the people. You'll get a real sense of the heart and soul of Singapore that way.
I love that experiencing the real Singapore, not just the tourist version. It's all about getting off the beaten path and immersing yourself in the culture.
Exactly. And, for such a modern city, Singapore really values its traditions. It's something you see and feel everywhere you go.
It's that balance we talked about, the old and the new, the traditional and the futuristic. That's what makes Singapore so unique.
Speaking of unique, we can't forget the Merlion.
True.
We mentioned it earlier, but it's worth emphasizing just how iconic that statue is.
Yeah.
It's not just a tourist attraction. It's a symbol of Singapore's journey from a humble fishing village to a global powerhouse.
Right. It represents their history, their transformation, their identity. Okay, so we've covered so much, but I know there's always more to learn. What's one question you would leave our listener with? Something that might inspire them to dig a little deeper into the magic of Singapore.
Here's a thought. How does a country as small as Singapore, with limited resources, manage to punch so far above its weight on the world stage?
That's a great question.
How do they balance tradition and innovation, cultural diversity and national unity, economic growth and environmental sustainability?
That's a big question.
It is.
But it's the kind of question that can really get you thinking.
For sure.
And it speaks to the incredible things Singapore has achieved.
It makes you realize there's so much more to discover beyond the surface.
Exactly. And that's what makes the deep dive so exciting.
Uncovering those hidden layers and finding the stories that connect us all. Yeah, it's like a puzzle, but instead of pieces, we're talking about ideas and innovations and cultural threads all woven together.
Exactly.
It's pretty inspiring.
And that's what makes Singapore so fascinating.
Yeah.
It really challenges our assumptions about what's possible,
Right.
especially for a small nation in a globalized world.
It proves that size isn't everything.
Definitely not.
It's about vision and determination and a willingness to embrace the future.
Absolutely.
Speaking of embracing the future, what would you recommend for someone who's now hooked on Singapore and wants to learn more? Where should they go from here?
Well, obviously, there's nothing quite like seeing it with your own eyes.
Sure.
But even if you can't hop on a plane right now, you can still experience some of the magic.
Oh, okay.
I always tell people to look up pictures of the Super Tree Grove illuminated at night.
Okay, yeah.
Those pictures are just breathtaking.
Okay. And they really give you a sense of the scale and beauty of Gardens by the Bay.
Oh, yeah, I've seen those pictures. It's like something out of a dream. And while you're at it, why not try making some of that delicious Singaporean food we talked about?
Exactly. You can find recipes online for all the classics, Hainanese chicken rice laksa chili crab. Who knows? You might discover a hidden culinary talent.
I'm all for that. And of course, if you ever get the chance to actually visit Singapore, don't hesitate.
Definitely go.
It's a journey that will stay with you long after you've left.
It's a place that stays with you. You come back with a head full of amazing memories and a new appreciation for a culture that embraces both tradition and progress.
And maybe even a newfound appreciation for the absence of chewing gum.
Perhaps. But seriously, Singapore is a place that makes you think.
Yeah.
It challenges your perceptions, and it leaves you feeling inspired.
And that's what we aim for here on the Deep Dive.
That's right.
To spark your curiosity, to get you thinking about the world in new ways, and to leave you wanting to learn more.
So keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep diving deep into the world around you. There's always something new to discover.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Until next time, fellow explorers.